Are you ready for a pixie book? Come on and listen in! With stories full of wonder, it's time now to begin. Storybook, you won again! Oh, hello! Are you ready for a story? Oh, well, we have just the story for you. It's called The Story of the Tortoise and the Hare. Storybook, on your marks, get set, go! Once upon a time, on a hot summer's day, many of the forest animals had gathered around the pond to try to cool off from the heat. When, from out of the bushes, he came running onto the scene.
Hiya, guys. Allow me to introduce myself. I am the one and only, quickest of them all, fastest by far, and speediest rabbit in the land. Thank you. So, anyone up for a race?
Huh? A race? Well, that was the last thing on their minds. It was so hot. But that rabbit kept circling around, trying to persuade somebody to race him. Please, just one race, please. Finally, just to quiet him down, the squirrel, who was pretty fast himself, said,
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll race you. How about once around the pond? The rabbit smiled. Twice, and you're on.
On your marks, get set,
Go!
Well, that rabbit really was fast, and, well, he won the race. Well, everyone thought they'd get back to cooling down, but it soon became clear that the rabbit hadn't even warmed up.
Okay, who's next?
Couldn't the rabbit tell everyone just wanted to relax?
Yeah, relax, schmalax. You can do that every day. But I, the one and only, quickest of them all, fastest by far, and speediest rabbit in the land, won't be here every day. Oh, come on, somebody, anybody, race me, please.
Yeah, all right,
Said the bear.
Yeah, I'll race you. Yeah, I'll race you up that hill.
Up that hill and back, replied the rabbit with a huge grin on his face.
On your marks, get set,
Go!
By the time the bear had gotten back down the hill, the rabbit had already swum around the pond 3 times. That rabbit just didn't seem to know the meaning of the words finish line.
Okay, who's next?
And that is when he slowly stepped forward. And when I say slowly, I mean slowly. I'll race ya, said the turtle.
The rabbit looked down at the turtle.
And burst out laughing.
You, a turtle, want to race me?
Yep. I'll race ya twice around the pond, up the hill and back, through the forest trees, and to the other side of the meadow. But if I win, you have to promise us one thing.
If you win? Did you hear that? If he wins? Okay. Yes. If you win, all right. What do I have to promise?
That you'll stop with all the racing and let us enjoy the rest of the day quietly.
Huh? You know what? If you win, I won't say another word about racing for a whole year.
And that is how the turtle came to race the rabbit. On your marks, get set,
Go!
off ran the rabbit, and well, off went the turtle slowly.
A short time later, when the rabbit had reached the forest, he stopped and looked back. Oh, huh? I can't even see that silly turtle. Maybe I'll lean up against this tree and rest a bit. I'll give that turtle a little extra chance. Though he's got no chance of eating me. Well, after all, I am the one and only, quickest of them all, fastest, speediest rabbit in the land. Speediest rabbit in the land. And while the rabbit snoozed, good old turtle kept on steady and true. Sometime later, the rabbit woke up from his nap. What? Huh? Sheesh! I just had the strangest dream that the turtle had won the race. Huh? And that is when he saw through the trees and almost to the other side of the meadow. Oh, there was the turtle, now only a few feet from the finish line. No! Rabbit cried as he leapt to his feet and sped towards the finish line. He ran with all of his might, but only to arrive too late, for Turtle had won the race. Hooray! Hooray for our turtle! Cried all the forest animals as they took turns holding him high in the air. Well, the parade slowly made its way back to the pond, where they all sat back and enjoyed the rest of the day quietly. The end. I think it's a perfect time to go to sleep. Bye-bye.
Hello, I am a storyteller. Oh, I just love telling stories. Like the Three Little Pigs. Oh, come on over to PixieBooks and listen in. Hello, everyone. How are you? Are you ready for a story? Yes? Well, I'm ready to tell one. Wait a minute. Something or someone is missing. That's right, the storybook. Yoo-hoo! A story, please. Oh, I love this story. A water jug's tale. Once upon a time, there lived a sweet old man high up on a mountaintop. Every morning, with the rising of the sun and the crowing of the cock, he would take his 2 water jugs, tie them to a pole, lift them up onto his shoulders, and set off down the trail to the river below. There, he would fill his jugs with cool, refreshing water, and then back up the trail he would go. Late one night, the 2 jugs stood in the full moon's light. One jug slept and snored, while the other stood wide awake and oh so bored. Juggo! Juggo! Ooh, Juggo! Juggo! What happened? What happened? You sleeping? Oh, you wake me up and you ask me if I'm sleeping? Oh, no, Juggy, I'm not sleeping. Good. Me neither. Oh, and it's all because of the moonlight. Why, it's so bright. Oh, I can see everything. Spider webs, pesky mice. Hey, even that crack of yours. Oh, crack? What crack? Oh, right there on your belly. That crack. Oh, what are you talking about? I'm cracked. Yep, you sure are. And you know, because of you at the end of the day, the old man probably doesn't have enough water to drink. Oh, poor guy. Yep, you, my friend, are cracked. And need I mention leaking? Oh, leaking? Oh, dear. Well, I guess I'll have to tell him to throw me away. Huh? Throw you away? No way. Hold on. Oh, if you go, who will I talk to when I can't fall asleep? Oh, no, I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. Oh, woe is me. What's this I see? I'm as cracked as a jug can be. It's sad but true. That's it. I'm through. Nothing left for me to do. Oh, I recall those early days when I was young and trim, full of fresh, delicious milk they'd fill me to the brim. And then as I got older, feeling strong and bolder, I'd carry tons with all my might. I tell you, friends, I was quite the sight. Oh, but what's become of me now? Time for my final bow. Goodbye, my friend. Hello, the end. Oh, nothing left for me to do. Oh, yeah. Oh.
And so it was on that bright, fateful night.
Ah, but that's not the end of our tale, because the following morning the old man got up without fail, took his jugs, and set off down the trail. Along the way, hey, Juggle! Juggle! Please don't tell him anything! No, but I have to. You don't have to anything. He may not have even noticed. Oh, then all the more reason to tell him. No, don't tell him. I gotta. You don't? Yes. No. Yes. No. Oh, yeah. Well,
Hey! Water jugs? What's going on? What's all the fuss about?
well, sir, there's something I have to tell you. You see, the thing is, I'm cracked.
Cracked, you say? Oh, yes, Juggo. I know you are.
Oh, no. Then you must not understand. I'm cracked as in leaking. Oh, sir, it's over. I suggest you throw me away. Better yet, recycle me.
Oh, Juggo, shh. Juggo, come here. Oh, yeah. Oh, shh. Come here, Juggo. Oh, come here. Shh. Come here, old pal. Juggo, tell me, what do you see all along the trail?
What do I see? Well, I see lots of flowers.
That's right. Lots of beautiful flowers. Now listen, Juggo, and listen close. The water that leaks out of you waters those flowers. Oh, Juggo, if it weren't for you, all those flowers wouldn't be alive.
Oh, but I... Oh. Hey, Juggy, have you noticed that I'm cracked?
And so, the sweet old man and his water jugs.
Hey, and don't forget all the beautiful flowers.
That's right, of course. And all the beautiful flowers, too, lived happily ever after. The end. Bye-bye.
Oh, storybook. Kids, you're already here. Oh, have you been waiting for me? Well, then, without further ado, let the story begin. Oh, the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, on the outskirts of a forest, there lived a mother and her dearest daughter. The daughter was known in the village as Little Red because she was born with a head full of bright red hair and big, round, reddish cheeks. As Little Red grew up, she spent much of her time in the woods. Now, most would say she had quite the imagination, but for Little Red it seemed perfectly normal to chat with all the friendly animals and sing along with the birds and the bees. On her 8th birthday, Little Red's grandma, who lived on the opposite side of the forest, made her a special red hooded sweater. Little Red loved it and wore it everywhere, and ever since, she's been known as Little Red Riding Hood. One day, Mother called her over to the kitchen. "Oh, dearest, I have a special errand for you. I need you to bring some soup over to Grandma's. She's not feeling well." "Oh, dear, sweet Grandma. Of course, I'll go right away." "Now listen," said Mother. "I've heard the neighbors talking about a wolf in the woods, so please stay on the trail and go straight to Grandma's house." "Oh, yes, of course, Mother. I'll reach Grandma's house in a flash and take good care of her." Little Red Riding Hood quickly put on her beloved hooded sweater, took the pot of soup, and set off to Grandma's house. Oh, she loved walking through the forest. There were always new things to discover. She planned to go directly to Grandma's house, but just as she was about to turn onto the trail that led her there, she heard the buzzing of happy bees. "Oh, listen to that bee chorus. Wow, they've discovered a field of flowers. I could collect a bouquet of flowers for Grandma. She just loves flowers. Woohoo!" And so she put the pot of soup down and joyously began collecting flowers for Grandma. As she did so, she chatted with her new bee friends. "I'm sure these flowers will help Grandma feel much better. Say, have any of you ever visited my grandma's garden? It's just down the trail, right beside the creek." Now, it turns out that the bees weren't the only ones listening, for lurking in the shadows was the wily wolf.
Oh, poor Grandma is weak from illness, huh? Perhaps I'll go and pay her a visit as well. Yeah, she'll be my appetizer, and once the girl arrives, I'll eat her as the main course. And ever so quietly, he snuck off towards Grandma's house.
A bit later, when Little Red Riding Hood arrived at Grandma's house holding the pot of soup and bouquet, she discovered that the front door was open. How strange, she thought. "Hello, Grandma?" She then heard a raspy voice call out,
Yes, my dear, I'm here in the bedroom."
"Oh, Grandma, you really do sound ill." Little Red Riding Hood entered the bedroom. Grandma was lying in her bed wearing her sleeping cap and had the covers pulled up to her eyes. And yet, something seemed strange. "Grandma, your eyes, they seem so big."
"Oh, yeah, the better to see you with," a raspy voice replied.
"Oh, and your ears, they too have grown."
"Oh, the better to hear you with."
And slowly, Grandma began to lower the blanket. "Oh, your nose, it's grown as well."
the better to smell you with.
And finally, Grandma sat up, revealing her whole face. Your mouth! Your sharp teeth!
Yeah, the better to eat you with.
The wolf leaped out of the bed towards Little Red Riding Hood, who immediately threw the soup straight into the wolf's face, causing him to howl loudly. Oh! She then hit his snout with the flowers and ran towards the door. Just as she opened it, in flew her bee friends, who had followed her to Grandma's in order to visit her garden. They swarmed around the wolf, stinging him with all their might. Ow! 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 The wolf howled so loudly, "Ooh!" that Grandma, who he had swallowed whole, came flying out and landed straight onto her bed. The swarm of bees chased the wolf out of the house and deep into the forest. Oh! Ow! Oh! Ow! Oh! Ow! Oh! Aye! Oh! 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 Ow! A while later, Grandma, now wearing clean pajamas, lay comfortably in her bed with Little Red Riding Hood beside her, holding her hand. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't have any super flowers for you to enjoy.
Oh, my dear, don't be silly. You brought me the greatest gift of all.
Really? Well, what's that? Grandma smiled. You. And they lived happily ever after. The end. Oh, what a great gift and a great story, too. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
If you like our stories, click on the like button. And if you want to hear more stories, just subscribe to PixieBooks.
Hello, children. Are you ready for a story? I'm ready to tell one. Someone's missing. The storybook, that's right. What's that noise? Oh, what a royal entrance. Hello, storybook. Yes, it's time for a story. The story of the lion and the mouse. Once upon a time, deep in the jungle, there lived a very proud lion. Some would even say a bit too proud. He would royally stride about the jungle and boast about himself. One evening, the lion stopped amongst the grazing zebras and roared proudly, "Look how my beautiful mane shines in the light of the sunset like a golden crown. I am truly the king of the jungle." The zebras nodded in awe. On another occasion, the lion was sitting in the shade when a herd of elephants came parading through. The lion stood up and roared, "Behold my teeth, huh? They are sharper than any of your tusks. I am truly the king of the jungle." The elephants nodded in respect. One day, as the lion was walking about, he suddenly stopped and smelled a familiar scent. He followed the scent until he saw a large piece of meat lying on a pile of leaves. "Oh," he thought, "someone must have left me a special gift. Knowing how much I love that kind of meat, they must be paying their respects to the king of the jungle." The lion approached, when suddenly the lion's foot snagged something, and a large net wrapped itself around the lion and lifted him high into the air. The lion was shocked to discover that he had been trapped in a hunter's trap. Oh, he tried to free himself with all of his strength. He bit and clawed at the net, roaring with all of his might, and yet was unable to set himself free. Finally, exhausted from his efforts, the lion gave up. It was now only a matter of time before the hunters arrived. Suddenly, the lion heard a soft squeaking sound. He glanced over and saw a little mouse on a branch next to him. The mouse looked familiar, but the lion couldn't recall why. "Do I know you?" asked the lion.
We met once before,
said the mouse.
I scampered next to you accidentally. You caught me by the tail, held me upside down, and were going to eat me for a snack.
The lion smirked. "Oh, yes, I remember now. You were so small and insignificant. Nothing compares to the king of the jungle."
That's right, said the mouse. So I begged for my life. You tossed me into a nearby bush and roared with pride.
As the lion remembered the incident, he felt deep shame. His eyes filled with tears. Suddenly, he heard a nibbling sound. He looked and saw the mouse gnawing on the rope net. "Oh, but why would you help me, especially after the way I treated you?" The mouse stopped and said,
Because you need help, and helping another is the most wonderful thing of all.
The lion felt something that he had never felt before. The warm feeling of love. The mouse continued to nibble through the strong rope all through the night until finally he had cut through enough of it, enabling the lion to squeeze out and fall to the ground. He lay there until morning, thinking back on his life and how he had mistreated others. As the sun rose over the jungle, the lion roared like never before. It was now the roar of love. Later that morning, the hunters came to retrieve their prize, but instead were greeted by the lion standing tall and growling menacingly at them. The hunters ran off in fear, never to return again. And since then, the humble lion roams about the jungle, connecting happily with the other animals, greeting them with a joyous roar of love. And if you look closely, you may notice a little someone sitting high up on his mane. It's his dear friend the mouse, who the lion regards as the true king of the jungle. The end. Ah, what a royal story. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Oh, there's so many stories in the Pixie Book Library. So if you'd like to hear all of them, subscribe.
Aha! Hello, children. And now, behold, abracadabra. Ha-ha! Hello, storybook. Children, do you believe in magic? Oh, well, I'm sure you will. Especially with this magical tale. Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time, out in the countryside, there stood a small old house. That is where Jack and his mother lived. They were quite poor, and worse still, Jack's mother was quite ill. Oh, Jack loved his mother and was always willing to do whatever needed to be done to help her. Their own possession was an old milk cow. Every morning, Jack would milk it and then set off to the market, where he would sell the milk to make just enough money for their daily bread. One morning, as Jack went to milk the cow, no milk came out. He tried again, and again, no, but there wasn't even a drop. Jack ran to his mother and told her, "Oh, I was afraid this day would come," she whispered. "Oh, we have no other choice but to sell our cow at the market." Jack hugged his mother. "Don't you worry." He untied the cow and led it onto the path towards the market. Jack and the cow had only walked a short distance when Jack saw a bright light out of the corner of his eye. He turned and saw a smiling old woman wearing a brightly colored gown. "Oh, yes. Hello there. What a lovely cow. Would you like to trade for it?" "Huh? I'm actually on my way to sell her right now." "Oh, well, how about I give you a sack of magic beans for her?" "Huh? Magic beans?" Jack giggled. "Well, there's no such thing." "Ooh, magic is everywhere. Perhaps these magic beans will lead you to your much-deserved riches." "Huh? Riches? I just hope Mother and I will have enough to eat." The old woman smiled. "It's when we help others that we are the richest, isn't it? And you are always very helpful." Jack thought it over. "Okay then, let's trade." Jack took the sack and turned towards his home when he suddenly had a change of heart and decided to ask the woman for the cow back. But when he turned around, they were gone. "Oh no, what have I done?" When he got back home, Jack told his mother what had happened. His mother's eyes closed and a tear dropped to the ground. "Oh, Jack." Jack knew he had made a terrible mistake and decided to get their cow back. He ran out the door, but after a few steps he tripped and fell. The beans flew out of the sack and landed on the ground. To his surprise, the beans began to sprout, becoming a vine that grew and grew and grew up towards the heavens. Jack couldn't believe his eyes. They really were magic beans. Perhaps if I climb the vine, I'll find the riches the old woman talked about. So he climbed up the beanstalk. He climbed and climbed and climbed until he reached the clouds. When Jack reached the top of the beanstalk, he stepped onto a cloud. He then saw a huge castle in the distance and quickly made his way towards it. Who lives there? He wondered. Just then, the ground shook, and Jack saw a huge giant coming toward him. Wait, Jack noticed that he was crying. The giant suddenly stopped and almost sat on top of Jack. Luckily, he leapt out of the way just in time. The giant held his finger. "Ho, ho, 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 fee, fi, fo, sob. I can't make my fingers stop to throb." Jack slowly approached the giant and called out, "Excuse me, are you all right?" The giant sniffled. "No, I'm not all right. Oh, wait, who's asking?" "It's me, Jack." "Oh." The giant squinted his eyes and finally saw Jack standing beside him. He was so small. "Oh, hello, Jack. It's nice to meet you.
even though I'm not in the best of moods. Oh, I got a splinter stuck in my finger. Oh, it's so small, but it hurts so much. Oh.
Jack thought for a moment.
Well, maybe I can help you get it out.
Oh, that would be so nice of you.
The giant gently placed his finger in front of Jack. The splinter was the size of Jack's whole arm. He grabbed it and said,
Okay, I'll pull it out on the count of 3. Ready?
Ready,
said the giant as he closed his eyes and clenched his teeth.
3, 2,
and before he reached 1, Jack pulled the splinter right out.
Oh, what a relief. Fee, fi, fo, thank you. Is there anything I can do to help you?
Well, truth is...
And Jack told the giant the story of his sickly mother, the cow, and how he had found his way up to the clouds.
Well, you seem like quite the nice little person. I think I might have just a thing. I have a flock of lovely geese, and they lay the tastiest eggs. Well, I'd be happy to offer you one of my geese.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Now I'll make Mother omelets for breakfast, and I'll sell eggs at the market and have enough for our daily bread.
Well, the giant stood up and ran off with loud thumps, and soon returned with a goose in his palm. Jack took hold of the goose, thanked the giant, and they parted ways. Jack carefully made his way down the beanstalk. When he finally reached the ground, he gently put the goose down and looked over at his little house. Oh, he had never been happier to see it. He then turned towards the beanstalk, but to his surprise, it had disappeared. Just then, the goose let out a honk and laid an egg. Jack noticed the egg was golden and shiny. He then picked it up. Oh, it was heavy and solid.
Wait, is this egg?
Yes, the egg was made of pure gold. Soon Jack and his mother were the richest in the land. Mother healed from all her ailments, and together with Jack, helped others in many wonderful ways. And they lived happily and magically ever after. The end. What a magical story! Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. If you want to hear all of the Pixie Books, make sure you click unsubscribe. Are you ready for a Pixie Book? Come on and listen in! With stories full of wonder, it's time now to begin. Hello there, children. Do you wish to hear a story? Here's a wonderful story about wishes. Once upon a time, there was an old fisherman. He lived with his wife in a small broken hut by the sea, in the middle of pretty much nowhere. They were very poor. Every day, the fisherman would go out to the sea and wait for the tide to come so he could find fish to bring back home for dinner. One day, as the fisherman sat by the sea, he felt a sudden pull at his line. The fisherman carefully pulled it out of the water, expecting to see an ordinary fish. But what he pulled out was no ordinary fish. Oh no, you see, it was a gold flounder. Do you know what a flounder is? I'll spare you the Google search. A flounder is a flat fish that lives at the bottom of the ocean, and this flounder was shimmering gold with blue sparkling eyes. Truly a beautiful thing. The fisherman was quite surprised, but he was even more surprised when the fish started speaking. "Dear fisherman," said the gold flounder, "let me go, please. I'm an enchanted prince, and if you release me, I'll grant you 3 wishes." The fisherman didn't want to return home empty-handed, but he felt sorry for the fish and let him go. Splash! He landed back in the water. "Oh, thank you, dear fisherman. Now, what is your first wish?" The fisherman thought, "My dear wife is always complaining about our run-down hut. Well, now there's a chance to fix it. Well, if you could, I'd like you to fix my home. It's broken, small, and dirty. If you don't mind, that's my wish." The gold flounder nodded. "Very well, it's done. You can go back to your home, dear fisherman. Thank you for sparing my life." When the fisherman got back home, he couldn't believe his eyes. His wife was standing at the door of a brand new cottage with a red roof and green windows. She was very happy. "Oh, dear husband, how did it happen?" The fisherman told her exactly what happened. When he finished, she told him, "If the magical fish could give us this cottage, why not ask for a bigger house with gardens and a car in the driveway?" The fisherman was confused. "Dear, we were given this cottage as a gift, as our first wish. I don't want to anger the magical fish. Why can't we just be satisfied with this house?" "No, husband. Tomorrow you go back to the sea and ask for a bigger house. You saved this prince's life. For sure he won't mind." And so the next day, the fisherman went back to the sea, and when came the tide, so did the flounder. "Dear flounder," he said, "I'm sorry to bother you, but my wife, well, she'd like a bigger house." The flounder nodded. "All right, dear fisherman, that's your second wish." The fisherman walked back to the house, and guess what? Yes, where a cottage once was, now stood a big stone house, surrounded by gardens and a driveway with a brand new car. But his wife was not done yet. "If the fish could grant us this big house, why not ask for a castle with tall towers and 100 rooms, servants and guards and limousines?" "Oh, but my dear wife," said the fisherman, upset, "we already asked for a bigger house, and the fish was nice enough to give us one. We don't need such a grand castle." His wife shook her head. "Go back and ask for a castle." And so the next day he waited for the tide by the sea. "Oh, dear flounder, I'm sorry to bother you again, but my wife wants to be the queen of a castle." The flounder nodded. When the fisherman returned, tuxedo-wearing servants greeted him and escorted him onto a huge driveway with sports cars and limousines, then into a giant castle with the roof made of gold, cooks, and many gardens. His wife sat on a big throne with a golden crown upon her head. "Well, you must be happy now," he said to her. But oh no. "If the fish could give us this castle—" "What could possibly be bigger than a castle? Well, you already have it all, and we were only given 3 wishes." She shook her head. "Nonsense! I am now the queen, and the fish must do as I command. Get him here to live with us as my servant." The fisherman tried to argue, but there was no point. The next day, with a heavy heart, he went back to the sea and sat by the water, sad. "Dear magic fish, I'm sorry, but my wife The queen wishes that you come live with us and grant her all the wishes she might have forever." The fish stared at the fisherman for a few moments and simply said, "Go home." He dove back into the water and was never seen again. The fisherman went back home, but when he arrived, the castle was gone. No cars or servants or gold-coated doors. Instead, he found his wife sitting on the ground, no crown in sight, next to their old broken hut. "Come, my dear, let's go back home." And so they did, and they lived there together, poor but grateful for each other. The end. Oh, what a magical tale! Say, children, if you met the gold magical flounder and were granted a wish, what would you wish for? Well, take your time and think about it. Bye-bye for now.
Did you like the story? Then click
Oh,
like.
hello there, children. Let's hop on to another great tale together. Oh, hello to you as well, Storybook. What have you got for us today? Oh, the ant and the grasshopper. Oh, how wonderful. Let's begin. It was during the summer days, when birds were flying over clear blue skies. The sun was shining on fields of grass and flowers, and the air was warm. Resting with his back to a tree trunk was a grasshopper, lying around lazily. He would spend his summer days singing and dancing, without a care in the world, just having a good time. Every day, he would watch a tiny ant carrying around foods. Not burgers and fries, though. She carried seeds and other ant foods from all around the fields to her home. Busy and persistent, she would work hard from dawn till sunset, carrying food to her home, not wasting any time. Quite a few times, he stopped her on her way as she was walking, carrying a seed that is twice her size, heavy on her back, and said, "Little ant, why are you working so hard? Come join me in my dance. Look how beautiful it is around us." And the ant, breathing heavily from effort, replied, "Oh, no, sorry, Grasshopper. I must bring food to my home. There's no time to waste." And she would walk away, and the grasshopper would stay there, shrug his shoulders, and go back to doing nothing all day. One day, as the grasshopper once again stopped the ant in her tracks and tried to convince her to join him in his lazy fun, she put down the seed on the ground with a big thump and said, "Sorry, Grasshopper, I can't. I need to make sure this seed gets in my home before nighttime." "But why?" the grasshopper wondered. "You go around working so hard every day. Why do you need so much food? Well, you're such a tiny ant." "Because when winter comes, my friend, this food will feed me through it, when everything here will be covered in snow." The grasshopper laughed. Winter? Winter won't come for 1,000,000 days. How silly. Working so hard every summer day for a winter that is so far away. But the ant paid him no mind. She shook her head, picked up the seed, and continued on her journey, collecting food for the winter time. And the grasshopper would laugh at her from afar, leaning on the tree trunk, singing songs to himself. This went on for days and weeks and months. The ant working hard and collecting food, and the grasshopper hanging around doing nothing but sing and dance. But alas, winter did come. The days were shorter. The skies turned gray with thunderclouds, the ground wet from the rain, whilst the ant was cozy and comfortable in her home with plenty of food to last her all season. But the grasshopper had it much worse. Cold, hungry, and alone, he searched and searched for food but couldn't find any. He became more worried every day that passed. And when snow began falling and covering the ground, he lost his place to sleep, too. He wandered around, exhausted, until he came upon the ant's home. Weary and weak, he knocked on the door. She opened it, and behind her he could see a warm fire crackling in the fireplace, sheltered from the snow and the rain. "Dear Aunt," he said to her, shaking in the cold air, "I'm hungry and freezing. Could I maybe take shelter with you this winter? Share your food and your fire?" The ant crossed her arms. "Oh, so now you regret doing nothing all summer and want me to give you the food I worked so hard for, while you were laughing at me? No. No, you should have thought about it before slacking off all summer," she said, angry. The grasshopper lowered his head. "I'm sorry for laughing at you. You were right. I was irresponsible, and now I suffer the consequences," he said, turning around and walking away, hugging himself as the freezing wind blew at him. Little icicles hanging from his antennae, the ant went back inside her warm shelter, closing the door behind her. She tried to go on with her night as usual, but couldn't stop thinking about the grasshopper for hours. "He really is freezing out there," she thought. "He has nothing to eat and nowhere to go. He might not survive the winter like this." She sat there and kept thinking, glancing at her window, watching the snow pile high over the ground. At last, her guilt grew too heavy on her. She put on her big scarf and went outside, searching for the grasshopper. She didn't take too long to find him, as he was getting so weak and couldn't walk that far away. She found him curled up on the ground, shaking, his body almost blue in color. She felt so bad for turning him away, and seeing him like this tug at her heartstrings. "Come with me," she said, helping him get up. They walked slowly towards her home, the grasshopper leaning on her, for he was so weak. He came into her home, and she took care of him until he grew stronger. And so he took shelter with her throughout the freezing cold winter, ate her food, and shared her fire. After a while, the winter was finally gone. "Thank you so much for everything, my dear friend. I'm very grateful," said the grasshopper to the ant. He left her house and went back to his life, but they remained very good friends. When summer came, not only did the grasshopper work hard to prepare for the next winter, he even saved extra food and gifted it to the ant as a thank you for her kindness. The end. Well, the grasshopper sure did learn his lesson, didn't he? Say, children, what do you think we could learn from this tale?
If you like our stories, click on the like button. And if you want to hear more stories, just subscribe to PixieBooks.